ago. So there was a lot of wailing and crying. Hala, my wife, her childhood best friend, has become the only survivor of her family. And it goes on and goes on, the bad news. Before I go to more bad news, the good news, they are bittersweet, they are mixed emotions, but good news, because yes, with the generosity of the British people and lots of you, I have managed to get my parents out, and they are in Egypt as we speak. It's good news to me, because at least they have survived the genocide. But it's not good news to what just Abigail told you, that, will they ever be allowed to go back? I don't know. I don't care anymore, because, I can't imagine myself hearing the news of my father being killed, or my mother, or my sister, or my nephew, or my niece. So they are safe as we speak. One of my sisters and one of my nephews, I've only managed to get 4 out of them, but it's okay. I'm not going to give up on any one of my family or my wife's family. And even if I get them out, even if with the knowledge they are being ethnically cleansed with my own hands, I can't forgive myself if I don't do it. So this is the good news. The bad news, or the more bad news, is a message I received from my brother. His name is Ahmed. He's a radiographer, and he's still in the north of Gaza with his wife, who's an ITU nurse, and they have an 18-month-old infant. And do you mind just holding this while I give the message? Before you sleep, I do not forget that I am crying as I write these words. Where do we start and how do we end? We were displaced dozens of times from one place to another until there was no longer a place to seek refuge. We slept for nights in the open without a bed, surrounded by the sky, and in our arms was our 1.5-year-old daughter, Tala. My child sleeps in a bed that is not her own. Her temperature is high and her face is pale. She suffers from pain in her stomach due to eating animal feed. Due to the lack of flour, she also lost a lot of weight. Do not forget that she is teething and there is nothing to eat, no milk, no eggs, not even a loaf of bread. She cries every day in hunger. She longs for meat, rice, or a piece of biscuits. It is a ridiculous wish, but here in Gaza, it is impossible. Dear brother, you can imagine, sorry. You can imagine a child no more than 1.5 years old crying in fear when she hears the sounds of bombing, placing her small hands over her eyes, trying to hide her fear in her palms. Here in Gaza, there are no hospitals, not even medicine. If you get sick, you will have to wait a long time until you recover, or you may die, and you will suffer your share. We sleep and we wake up to the sound of cannons and the sound of quadcopter shots. These are the drones. But we have not forgotten hunger in the face of fear. If you can hear us, help us. Get out get us out of here, not for us, but for our children. If we do not die from bombing, we will die of fear or hunger. He's directing his words to the world, to the press, to the politician, to everyone. Before you sleep, do not forget that I am crying as I write these words. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Salim. And from the bottom of our hearts, we share your pain and the terrible dilemma that you face. Where's Chris? Yeah. Chris, the motion that went through the Highland Council really depended on two Chris's. Chris Burt. Chris, would you like to come up? Chris Burt was the person who took on the task of formulating a motion to go to the council in the first place, and we owe him a great debt for having done that. So thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. And Chris Balance is a Green Party councillor who also played an important role in persuading the movers of the motion to change the wording to include a statement about an immediate and permanent ceasefire. So I'll hand over to Chris.
Thank you. I don't know how I can follow those last two speeches, apart from with a little bit of silence. On behalf of Highland Council, I would like a message to go to that family, please, to say that Highland Council has heard, has listened, does support you, and will do what we can, which is not very much, but we are a part of the world campaign against this right-wing, extremist, fascist Israeli government. So thank you. As Derek has said, Chris as the SNP put the original motion forward, and Highland Palestine, congratulations to Highland Palestine for having staged, I think, the biggest, the most colourful and the lovely demonstration outside the Highland Council buildings last week that I've seen since I was elected 2 years ago. So well done, Derek, and well done all of you. Thank you so much for raising the issue so loudly. Thank you. Yeah, and Highland Palestine suggested a new wording for a motion which I was going to lodge, but in the end, with hurried discussions with Derek, we agreed that as long as we got a call for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, then, and as long as that was there unopposed, with no discussion against it, no debate, no vote, then that was probably better than having a detailed discussion about the wording. So what we finally agreed was this council, Highland Council, abhors the attack, killing, raping and kidnapping carried out by Hamas in Israel on 7th of October, is horrified and appalled by the excessive loss of life in Gaza since the Israeli attack on it, recognises the gravity of the 26th of January order by the International Court of Justice to the State of Israel regarding the right of Palestinian people to protection from genocide, acknowledges that the UK government, as a signatory to the 1948 Genocide Convention, is obliged to take all steps to prevent genocide, and calls on the UK government to ensure that the State of Israel complies with the interim measures issued on the 26th of January by the ICJ, is further appalled by the spreading violence and killing spreading from Gaza across the Middle East, calls for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, and hopes